All right, show me. Low weapon range. Okay. I'm seeing it. Whoa! That's sick! I was wondering how they're gonna do this. That's actually so cool. Because when they were explaining this to us, they didn't quite clarify what they meant by a lot of this, other than like particular skills. Somebody was like, oh yeah, you think they're gonna make the weapons longer or what? Like, well, they didn't make the weapons longer, but they made it real cool, dog. Pretty paid to win now though, huh? With the MTXs. What the? But look at this, dude. This is with no splash. This guy is actually killing things with no splash. That's actually sick. All right, well, we got a big boy over here, my friends. All right, my friends. Completely new node, Valakos Storm Embrace. 0.5 maximum life regenerated per second per endurance charge. 3% more damage of each endurance charge lost recently. Up to 15. That is pretty yikes. Tukuhama's War Herald. So this is what we're looking at. It's a standalone node. It's a reworked node. 1% of damage dealt by your totems is leached to you as life. Yes, we know that. 50% increased effect of buffs granted by your active ancestral totem. Oh. That's interesting. It's a nice multiplier. That's fucking big. That will definitely make me want to use Ancestral Protector over, 30% more damage or however much it is with a War Chief. That's strong, man. Ancestral Totem have 100% increased activation range. Whoa! Okay, that is big. 25% increased area of effect while you have a totem. What? This one's crazy. And it's just a 2-pointer and you don't have to go through anything? Holy moly. Thessalio, Cleansing Water. Plus 100% to fire resistance. 2% of life regenerated per second. 10% of physical damage from hits taken as fire damage. Nice. 50% increased life recovery rate if you've taken fire damage from an enemy hit recently. Whoa. Unaffected by Ignite. Whatever. This is where... Oh, this is also a separate node. Oh, that's a genuine choice, honestly. That's a pretty alright node. It definitely is one of those nodes where it's like, that's a really good Uber lab, type of situation. But we gotta see the rest to really make a call on this one. Hinakar's Death Fury. 20% chance to cover rare or unique enemies in Ash for 10 seconds on hit. Nice. They did exactly what I wanted them to do. It was always shocking to me how this was 10%. And then it's 1% fire damage leached as life and 10% increased strength. Pretty majestic, honestly. That's really big. Nagamu's Flame Advance. Every 10 seconds, gain 100% of physical damage as extra fire damage for 4 seconds. Damn, so a buff. And 50% of physical damage converted to fire damage. Honestly, I'm a big fan of this node. If it would have an indicator, like this really needs like a fucking indicator that something's going on, Because right now it's like you never know what kind of damage you're going to be dishing out because you never really know. You can't keep track of like when your stuff's at what duration. I mean, it's a great totem ascendancy now. Like it's always been a really good conversion ascendancy, but I just don't see how it can compete with like a lot of the attack speedy stuff and like elementalist stuff. And speaking of elementalists, it's probably also pretty good for ignites. Wish it had a little bit more. The chance to ignite is not impactful enough, but then the fire and the more burn is... It's a big one. 15% fire pen. That's big. It just really lacks speed, and I wish it had more totem placement. But it's really defensive too. Probably like the third most defensive ascendancy. I like the design of this a lot more than I like the design of Juggernaut. This just seems so interesting and versatile and fresh, and these like individual nodes that are the genuine choice. Again, it's kind of what they did with Inquisitor, and I like that idea a lot more, that you're just kind of either optimizing around your gear or you're optimizing around your ascendancy. right? If you have like the other. So yeah, cool. I think they did a good job. We've got Steelskin and the Guard skills. So this is something I'm particularly excited about. Anything that makes people realize that armor is not nearly as bad as Reddit made it out to be. Goes a long way. As part of changes to make early game combat more active, we're introducing the new Steelskin skill and are changing Molten Shell and Immortal Call. In our lead up to Legion's launch, we wanted to reveal more information about these skills and how they work. Steelskin is a new defensive skill which is available very early in the game. It instantly hardens your skin. It only lasts a few seconds and has a short cooldown, so you'll need to time your use of the skill to protect you from dangerous enemy attacks. Really cool idea. Like in general, I always thought PoE could really use a more, you know, Dark Souls-y feel to it, and that's exactly what 3.7 is focusing on. Although things like this, like the 70% less, I really hope they don't overdo it with the amount of damage that you can absorb, because yeah, that's a scary concept, you know? There's so many things that just become crazy with time that you have to kind of fix. Like Gluttony, for instance. Gluttony kind of started off exactly like this, where it was like, hey, you click this every now and then, and you're really tanky for a short period of time. And then now it's like, oh, you have Gluttony 24/7. Have fun. Fuck. These skills are all instant and sure cooldown, which won't expire where any of the skills are active. Oh shit, Immortal Call no longer casts damage taken. But Molten Shell and Immortal Call have received significant changes which give them a more active playstyle that reward quick reaction times. Molten Shell now grants armor while active and a damage barrier that absorbs 75% of damage taken. The maximum damage that it can absorb is based on 20% of your total armor, making it a powerful choice for high armor characters. What? That's way too much. GGG. When Molten Shell absorbs its maximum damage, or when the duration ends and all of the absorbed damage is dealt as reflected damage in an area around you with a large number multiplier. What? This is way too strong. Oh, that sounds really ridiculous. I think they're gonna have to tweak these numbers real quick. I mean, obviously I don't know what the duration is. Maybe they talk about it soon, but like, man, that is a lot. That is really too strong. Immortal Call is now instant and grants less physical and elemental damage taken for its duration. It can consume up to 5 endurance charges, gaining increased duration and additional less physical damage taken. At level 20, this can mitigate 35% of physical damage and taken and 34% of elemental damage taken. Consuming endurance charges adds an additional 10% less physical damage taken for each charge consumed, and no longer grants complete immunity to physical damage. I mean, that's still really good, but it's not as ridiculous as it's been for the longest time. I mean, I like this. A big part of the game in the past was basically playing around your cast damage taken Immortal Call. That's just how you made your characters, and if you wouldn't have it, it would be a massive freaking difference in your character's survivability. And this really helps it. I think it's gonna make for a much more skillful play. Because like that's kind of what it's always been in PoE, where people would have characters where they would like run around and do just the most ridiculous shit, and they wouldn't die because, hey, Immortal Call. And now it's gonna be less so like that. Still, it's gonna be really helpful, but at least you're gonna feel like something's happening as opposed to Immortal Call. I was never a big fan in general of Path of Exile mechanics, defensive mechanics that don't give you any feedback. Like I love what it does, what dodge does, but I hate the design of it, because when it works, you don't notice it, and when it doesn't, you're just mad, right? And Immortal Call was always a lot more apparent, but you would still not realize how much it really does to you. I think overall good changes. Although I am really worried about Molten Shell, but that also depends on like the duration. And making any balance change to 300 weapons. There are buffs to added damage on weapons, improvements to many two-handed weapon passives, and some new mechanics are available that benefit more from the higher hit damage relative to the slower base attack damage of two-handed weapons. Pretty skeptical, but I really don't know how to balance this out. I really, yeah. Two-handed weapons. I have no idea, dude. I shouldn't even talk about this because I genuinely fucking have no clue what the hell you can do with it. Like, you can make them feel better and all this stuff, but like making the choice to play two-handers over one-handers in current PoE without one-handers ever being weaker than two-handers. Yeah, I mean, they could make it more of a, you know, you use a two-hander until you use a one-hander sort of scenario, which is cool. I'd like that, but that's never gonna give you that really good two-hander feel. So I really don't know. I hope they have something really innovative in line. Yeah, I just don't know. PoE is just such a speedy game now. Like, if you really want the playstyle, I can imagine why they would make it feel good for the people that are really looking to have the playstyle, but I don't think that's going to prevent people from still complaining about it. So they have to really just get some like 5-hit shit going with this, because yeah, it's such a complex issue, man. But they seem to be hard to work, so I'm expecting great things. So the way I thought they're going to balance like casters or ranged versus melee is going to be by essentially making it so that melee has a higher focus on survivability and single target, and ranged attackers have lower single target, higher AoE, and obviously less amount of defense. But that really never would have been fun, right? So if you were to take a map that takes 3 minutes, for a caster would be 2 minutes of clearing the map, or 1 minute of clearing the map and 2 minutes on the boss, right? That kind of mentality. Obviously, these aren't the exact numbers. And then for a melee character, it would be 2 minutes on the map and then 1 minute for the boss, because that would be the difference. But like, that would have never been fun, because the boss encounters are just not fun, and just standing there and fucking whacking away, it's not interesting, right? But now that they can make boss fights more exciting and interesting and rewarding and all this sort of stuff, maybe you're actually potentially going to be rewarded by dealing a larger amount of damage that you don't necessarily need for like the larger part of the game. Yeah, so it's a way to do things, but I don't think that's what they're going for. I think that's not ambitious enough, you know? I think GGG is just super ambitious. They always come up with really cool and innovative ways of optimizing the game and balancing it out.